to the Fan.
Sing my share of broken halos.
We want you to experience the raw energy and unmatched talent of Chris Stapleton as he hits the road with his All-American Roadshow Tour. Caller 11 right now. 1-800-320-5326 will win a pair of tickets to see this incredible show when it comes to U.S. Bank Stadium on April 6th. Good luck.
How long are you going to talk?
So good.
Yeah, I like this tune. This may be my favorite of his songs. I like this.
Tennessee Whiskey's pretty tough to beat. This is
great.
close. Yesterday, I saw T-Pain.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He is so freaking good. He's got an amazing voice. And it's funny, it shouldn't be surprising, but because the whole auto-tune situation, you're like, you didn't need that, Playboy.
Singing what?
What's that?
T-Pain singing what?
Tennessee Whiskey.
Oh, really? Okay, so I didn't hear that. I heard him doing...
Yeah, this is good, too.
That's T-Pain, man.
Find Tennessee Whiskey, Chris. I swear to our Lord, it is. Holy smokes, he's so good. He needs to come back, man. Buy you a drink.
Oh.
In love with the stripper. Come on. Come on. Yeah, doing that night thing.
Yeah.
That night thing is a great way of saying throwing the boot.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Just catchy.
Got a little flanger going there.
That's really good.
All right, here's Tennessee Whiskey live. I hope he doesn't cuss.
He doesn't.
Okay, cool. Here it comes. Oh, somebody stepped on something. Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's a big dude, man.
Okay, come on now.
This is Aaron Neville.
But you're asking me from reaching for.
Holy balls.
Yeah.
Wow.
Legit.
And brought me back from being too far gone.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Did you even hear the music I just played for you?
Wow. Wow.
Tennessee whiskey.
And that's live, dude.
Yeah.
That's really live.
And it looks so effortless, too. It looks like he's just standing there chatting with people if he didn't have the sound on.
Holy moly.
Yeah. I want to be at that concert. It's like in a lounge.
I'd be standing in a puddle of urine. That's incredible.
You're
Incredible.
UTI.
He's so, yeah. Might
good for
burn a
you.
little. Told you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm glad he's back. I missed that son of a gun.
Aw.
Yeah. Those songs bring back some memories.
Good
That
stuff.
night thing is a great tune.
Oh, yeah. And that's generally what the memories it brings back are involving.
The night things?
That night thing.
Damn right.
Doing that night thing is the best.
Do we have that in the system, Hawk? Do you
Yeah,
want
we
to play
sure
it?
do.
Yeah,
In
let's
love
hear
with the
it.
stripper. Come on.
Yeah, of course we have that. You know who loves that song?
Oh, God.
Daddy Warbucks?
Your
Nothing-
dad for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Rosie, for sure.
I forgot what song I was looking for.
The night thing.
Does Sue like T-Pain?
I doubt it.
Does Sauce know who Daddy Warbucks is? Because he laughed really hard. Do we think he knows?
I think he does.
You think he does? He laughed very hard.
He did. I think so, yeah.
Zach, do you know who he is?
No.
Okay, do you think Sauce knows, or do you think Sauce just did a courtesy laugh to Chris?
Just a Hawk? Yeah.
Courtesy laugh? Chris, you think it was a courtesy laugh, or do you think he actually knows who Daddy Warbucks is?
Courtesy laugh.
Courtesy laugh. So no one thinks. Chris, you think, though? You think he does?
I think he does.
Okay, go.
Isn't he the Monopoly guy?
Oh, boy. He doesn't
Mr.
know.
Moneybags.
That's Mr. Money.
Oh, I just like Daddy Warbucks is a funny word.
Okay.
It's weird, though, because he's kind of the Monopoly guy.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, that's weird. Yeah.
Who is he?
He's the guy from Annie who
The
adopts
orphan Annie.
Annie.
Yeah.
Who the hell would watch that?
Yeah, sorry about that.
You against adoption?
What? No.
He stopped listening. It wasn't about him.
Smitty texted me.
Oh, okay.
His dad wishes it was about him.
Brilliant.
You call my dad Daddy Warbucks.
Yeah, I call
That
him
joke was as smooth as
Daddy
Tennessee
Buttwars.
whiskey.
Daddy Buttwars?
Jesus.
Is that what you said?
I swear there's a gas leak in here today.
Did you say Daddy Buttwars?
No.
You sounded more like him doing you than you've ever sounded just now.
These guys. We get paid to do this.
You said
We're
Daddy
not even
Buttwars.
employable. This
Oh, I'm
show's
not
terrible.
for sure.
God, the show's dumb.
I have no skills.
That's what we said.
Did you say Buttwars? Did you say Daddy Buttwars?
All right.
My God.
I got a lot of stuff that I haven't gotten to all week, so I'm just going to throw some stuff out. Here we go.
All right,
You ready?
go.
This is not necessarily news, but I don't, the world's largest cruise ship is in its new Miami home. The Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas is a 250,800 gross ton, 1,980 foot long, 20-deck vessel.
That's a huge bitch.
It is the first in a new class of cruises. There's a huge welcoming party being live streamed this couple of weeks from now. But anyway, its inaugural 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise is starting on January 27th. If you haven't seen pictures of this sumbitch, you got to. It's enormous.
It's a beast.
It is.
I just am amazed by the science.
Yeah, I know.
Because it just doesn't look possible. It just looks like, I don't care how much they've thought of this should sink.
Right.
It just doesn't look like it should be able to
tip
float.
over. Should tip over.
But
It doesn't.
smart people, man, figure that stuff out.
I was listening to a podcast, Hardcore History, and it was about Vikings, and the rise and fall of Vikings. It's really, really interesting. And he was talking about rogue waves. Have you guys ever read about or heard about rogue waves? Like you'll be out in the middle of the ocean, and literally it's flat and calm. Everything's cool. You're just cruising along on a cruise ship or whatever. And one of them's called Three Sisters because they're three giant, enormous rogue waves that just come out of nowhere. And like they think, and of course they don't know for sure because for hundreds of years there was no way of, because if you didn't survive, there was no way of knowing that, They think most of the ships in history that like disappeared may have been from rogue waves because they happen all the time, just out of nowhere. And they're so big that they blot out the horizon. It's fascinating stuff, man. Look
Like
up
the Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah, look up rogue waves. It's scary as hell. That's why I'm not sure I do want to go on a big giant cruise
I
ship
think I'll
anymore.
look up Three Sisters instead.
Yeah.
I've got that. as well.
Bookmarked.
There's an article in twincities.com from 2015, and the headline is, with Edmund Fitzgerald in mind, scientists confirm rogue waves on Lake Superior.
Wow, on Lake Superior. Well, that makes sense. It's enormous, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway.
And speaking of ships, whoa.
Yes, sir.
Was there anything more stressful than going through that Titanic museum, Hawk, and like learning about how that thing was built?
Yeah, crazy.
And guys just doing
Belfast.
20-hour days and just in the worst hot conditions ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. And they were dying all the time. And
all the time.
But people needed jobs so bad that like they were kind of happy when you died because they could get their job now. They were waiting outside for people to die so they could work.
They're cheering him on.
Yeah.
Don't drink that water.
Yeah, step over there. Ed Sheeran will top the bill for this year's Boston Calling Music Festival. Joining the hitmaker will be The Killers, Hozier, Leon Bridges, Trey Anastasio, and Young the Giant.
Young the Giant's very good.
Yeah.
I've heard of two of those.
At the Bonnaroo Music Festival in Tennessee, the Red Hot Chili Peppers are headlining with Post Malone and Megan Thee Stallion. Bonnaroo.
She's got a couple greasy cuts.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. I like her.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time, and I'll just stick by this. I'm at the age now where all of these giant concerts, festivals, sound like a nightmare to me.
Yep.
I don't want to spend 3 days with that many people. I don't want to spend 3 days covered in dust and waiting in lines for $17 beers. I just want to see the 1 or 2 bands I came to see in and out in 2 or 3 hours and go the hell home.
Correct.
So
I think-
festivals don't do much for me.
Watching the Fire Festival bit and then the Woodstock 99 or whatever,
No, that I wish I would have been at.
Oh, God.
I mean, those are.
I was 19 years old and loved Limp Bizkit. That was the era I should have gone to Woodstock in 1999.
Just for
Fallujah
Bizkit.
looked a lot more fun than that concert.
Did Bizkit go to Fallujah? Then no.
Yeah.
Then Woodstock was better. Rage was there. Metallica. Did I mention Bizkit?
Yep.
Because they were there.
An Alabama judge is allowing the nation's first execution using nitrogen gas.
I'm convinced it's in the studio right now.
Yeah.
Kenneth Eugene Smith was sentenced
Kenny
to death
Smith from TNT.
Dynamite.
for killing somebody in 1988. Survived a botched execution attempt via lethal injection back in November of 2022.
Good. I hope it hurt.
His new execution is for January 25th. His lawyers argue a second execution attempt is unconstitutional. United Nations officials say death by nitrogen hypoxia could prove to be painful and humiliating.
Oh, that's too bad.
There's a very simple way to not have it happen to you.
How's that?
Don't kill anybody. There needs to be more of the death penalty.
Yeah.
There needs to be a lot more of it. If you watch the news, if there's DNA evidence and it's beyond a reason, like way beyond a reasonable doubt, slam dunk, they admit it. See you later.
Yeah, but I've been with you when you wanted to kill somebody going slow in the fast lane.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
thanks,
you're right.
the Eagles.
Yep.
Oh, nice reference.
They can appeal it.
Yeah, they can. But I don't think it's going to work for him. But anyway.
Good luck to him.
99% of Americans have a Mexican restaurant in their county. I don't know why that's a thing, but it's true. How about
99%?
99% of Americans.
I have never had a bad time at a Mexican
Never.
restaurant.
I love it.
Correct.
It's the best.
It's
Always
the best.
just
It's so good.
gallon margaritas.
Oh, the best.
My favorite one on the planet's the one we went to, Cafe Coyote in San Diego, Old
Oh,
Town.
yeah.
Man,
that was
that's
super
The
fun.
be- and
Old
we
Town's the
had
best.
water tower
Yeah,
size.
we had
margaritas.
bathtub margaritas. So I
Yeah.
think we had 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'm just more amazed by the statistic because of population density, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously you go out to the middle of Montana, there's not a Mexican restaurant.
I bet you there is.
Not in every county, but there is,
Yeah,
to your
right.
point, there is, with 99% of us, we're within driving distance of a Mexican restaurant.
Man,
Yeah.
hard to mess that up. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
good.
99% of us are in the county of a Mexican restaurant. All right.
Yeah.
Good for us.
And lastly, and I have some audio of this, George Carlin's daughter isn't happy
Yeah.
by because of a new AI comedy special on YouTube that replicates the late legendary comedian's voice. Kelly Carlin, who manages Carlin's estate, posted on X that there was zero permission granted for the special called "I'm Glad I'm Dead."
Jeez.
Kelly
That
Carlin.
actually sounds like a title of one of his specials. That
Yeah.
would be something he would do.
If I have some audio, and it sounds like I'm setting up a joke, but I'm not. Do you want to hear audio?
Sure.
Of course.
So this is Dudesy AI, and created an AI George Carlin special and released it. It's 1 hour long. Here's a bit of it, edited because there's a lot of cursing.
Because Americans love reality TV, like it or not. It's the lifeblood of American culture. It's got the 4 basic food groups of the standard American media diet. Fighting and crying and and dying. In the last 3 years, the U.S. government said aliens are real. Are we alone? They told you the answer. We're not, and no one cares. Because a grainy infrared video of a UFO ain't got no fighting, no crying, no and no dying.
This is terrible.
Know what
This is
people care
awful.
about
It
instead?
sounds just like
It
it.
does sound like
I
it,
don't
though.
think it sounds anything
I don't
like
think
it.
it sounds anything like
I
it.
think it's as funny as his comedy.
That's as a disciple of Carlin.
Correct.
That doesn't sound anything like him, and that is I get the whole kind of bouncing around and making it sound lyrical, but that sounds like the worst attempt at a Carlin bit.
That's terrible.
Terrible.
That was the top 10 bit I ever heard from.
Because Corey and I can't repeat it.
Yeah. Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah, that's AI, man.
All right. Well, AI ain't there yet.
Allen Iverson ain't here.
Nope. All right. Chris, you got to roll?
Got to roll.
right.
Love you guys. If your business is looking for a motivational speaker, go to johncreasel.com. I would love the opportunity. johncreasel.com. I love you guys. See you next Friday.
And I thought you were gone. That's not Jamaica next Friday?
I will be back. I'm just going quick there, quick back. So I will be here next Friday.
Be careful. Enjoy it, brother.
Will do. Love you guys.
Love you, man. See you later.
All right, Parrish in a second, Marney in a second, Alan Horton in a little bit, Initials in an hour. This is the Power Trip Morning Show on the Fan.
Join Meat Sauce and Nordo in the Book Sports Betting Lounge at St. Croix Casino, Turtle Lake tomorrow from noon to 2 p.m. You can stop by and enjoy food and drink specials. Check out their cheat sheet and that will give you all the best bets for the weekend. KFAN.com, keyword calendar for more info.
723 Patrick Morning Show. Mark Parrish is here.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Marco.
How are we doing?
74,000 people in the main studio.
Yeah. A bit of a herd in the elevator.
I know.
They're waiting for me. I like that kind of a reception.
What a story, Mark.
It's a great story, Marco.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
We have some other guests coming in momentarily, don't we, Core?
That is correct. I don't know if they're coming in together or not, but Alan Horton should be here in a second or two. I believe he's supposed to be here between 7:30 and 7:45, somewhere in that range. So Marney should be here any second as well.
It's time for sports. Is he over there yet?
He sure is.
Is Saucy sitting right there?
Yeah,
is he
man.
prepared? Does he look ready?
I mean, he's there.
Yes, it typically does.
It's time for Fan 5 on the Power Trip, presented by All Around Property Preservation.
All right, that guy's pumped. The Wolves battle the Trailblazers tonight at 7. The Trailblazers lost last night 139-77 to the Thunder.
Jesus.
Before yesterday's game, the Blazers were plus 13. At one point on live betting sites, you could get the Blazers at plus 60. The Blazers are 10-27. The Wolves are a 14.5-point favorite, and they will hopefully win the game. Rudy Gobert is questionable for tonight's game.
Cool.
Can you, shut up?
Oh. What did he do wrong?
Yeah, what I do? All right.
Very great.
The Gophers hockey. Battle Indiana tonight. Indiana is a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under is 146.5. That game is at 5:30.
Yeah, man. Let's go. Let's get a big win. It's not a trap. They know what they're walking into, but they also know that they got a big game coming up on Monday. They're going to win this. They're going to win the next one, and they're going to go to the big
dance.
Thank you.
Have Alan and Marney come in. They want to talk about the Gopher Hawk, too.
You guys can go on in the main studio, I'm being told in my ears. Go on in. Hi.
Can Hockey and Parrish name 2 Trailblazers of all time?
Absolutely. I'm going to name this one David, and I'm going to name this one over here Rich, because he looks like a Rich.
Absolutely not. I think it's a total of 1, and exactly 1. And that might be if Parrish gets lucky. I'll take that bet. I say no if you want to say yes.
To 1?
No. To the 2. I think they can get 1.
I don't think they can name 1.
Well, then we don't have a bet. Dang it. Just for fun, go for it.
I literally don't have any idea.
All-time Portland Trailblazers.
I don't think
Not the slightest.
Alan, this isn't a bit.
I wasn't even sure that
Honestly,
they were
It's not a bit, Alan.
I'm not. I honestly.
Portland Trailblazers. And they're still a team.
Well, they shouldn't be anymore,
Okay.
but just shut
For
it
some
down.
reason, in my brain, I'm thinking old school, and I'm thinking, what was that guy's name? Pistol Pete?
Pistol Pete.
What was his name? Pistol Pete. He was a basketball player. Pistol Pete, not Lonkarevich. That was a BMX guy. Marinovich.
Yeah, Todd Marinovich. Nailed it.
No, what was his name?
Just to humor Alan, who just showed up, Alan
Hi,
Horton.
Alan Horton.
Hi,
Can
Alan
they
Horton.
name one Oklahoma City Thunder?
Ever or current?
Currently.
No.
Ever.
I mean,
Ever, I hope.
Marney, you know them.
Come on.
It's not impossible
That's
for
true.
them.
They don't always
Parrish,
connect the dots.
Parrish, tell Alan where Zion Williamson went to college.
Minnesota. And we're still trying to figure out Pistol Pete.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And was
Yeah.
that right?
No.
Okay.
Maravich.
Maravich. Thank
That was
you.
close.
Would you say Marinovich? Yeah.
Pretty close.
Very close.
An extra
Was he a
syllable, but that's
Trailblazer?
it.
I don't think so.
I don't know
I
who
think
Maravich played for.
He blazed a lot of trails for
He was with New Orleans.
Thank you.
The New Orleans Jazz before they moved to Utah, and I think he was with the Boston Celtics. I don't think he ever played with the Portland Trailblazers.
See, Alan gets it.
I'm sorry.
Good to see you, man.
It's good to see you guys. Thanks for having me in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm glad this worked out.
We were debating earlier. When was the last time you were on the Power Trip Morning Show or just KFAN in general?
You know, I have a feeling I was in my basement once early in the morning on the phone with you guys when you guys had the Wolves games. When I got here in 2007, I think it was must have been the 08, 09, 10 range, somewhere in there.
Got it.
Yep.
And you did the Sludge-a-thon with me a couple of times.
I did it once, I think.
But that was what? That's at least 10 plus years ago.
Yep. Came in after a game on a Saturday night. I think you were going Saturday to Sunday.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back.
It's great to see you guys.
Man.
Yeah. Say hi to Scoot Henderson tonight.
You want me to say hi to him for you or
please?
just for me?
No, just say hi to him randomly.
Okay.
What's it like broadcasting a radio game with Mark Rosen when you know he's stealing takes from John Krasinski?
So that was the talking point afterwards, right? I hadn't heard John on the afternoon with Barrero. Is that what he did? He just parroted everything that he said?
I didn't hear any of it. I've just been told by 37 people that he almost word for word stole what Johnny K said and just presented it to you like it was his own original ideas. I haven't heard a second of it.
Mark was great. Well,
and
he always is. And, it just reminded me, it was great. I was like, hey, you got to come back up here more often. I enjoy having a partner. I had one my first 2 years. It went away. And if Mark's up for the challenge, I mean, he's got good insight. I think he may have parroted some Johnny K takes, but
might have,
but also had some thoughts on what was happening on the floor. So
if you ever have Mark Rosen on again, we need John Krasinski to lay some bait on the Barrero show that day and be like,
see if it translates that night.
Anthony Edwards sleeping upside down has really changed his game. And
really paying off.
We've tried that on the show. Lieber has floated a couple of takes that he doesn't believe, just to see if Rosen will say it with comment. We tried that with football takes like a year and a half ago.
The coach one worked.
Yeah, it did. He did drop one name only because Lieber said it in the morning, and he took the bait perfectly.
And to go old school fan, there were people with the Wolves that would give somebody made up information to see if they would go with it on the air.
Yep, and that person.
Tell Alan the Flip Saunders call when he called in when Corey and I were talking.
Yeah, what were you guys talking? I know it was
a trade.
I think it was like the Celtics trade rumors.
Yeah, so the hotline rings, and I answer it. I go, hello. And he goes, tell those guys they're full of S. And I go, who is this? And he goes, it's Flip. Those guys don't know what they're talking about. Tell them they're full of S. And I go, well, do you want to go on the radio and tell them about it? He goes, no.
We had read some internet rumor about this giant trade, and we were debating it on the air and talking about whether or not we should do it and whether or not the Wolves should do it. And then Flip just hated the whole thing.
Just hated it.
And a great example of Flip being he was everywhere, right?
Yep,
he listens in the morning, he listens in the night, he knows everything. He was omnipresent within the organization.
Yep. And loved this station. Flip was a rube, man. He loved this show.
Yeah.
Loved the station. Good dude.
No question.
Bad taste in radio, great guy.
Yeah. There he goes.
Hey, Parrish, the Wild have lost 6 of 7, and they've been outscored in their last 2 games 11-2. They battle the Flyers tonight at the X at 7 right here on The Fan.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough go. The injuries, you don't want to make an excuse of it, but literally, if there was a magic wand, Billy Guerin or whoever had at the beginning of the year and said, we don't want these 4 players to get injured, all 4 of those guys are out of the lineup. Kaprizov, Spurgeon, Brodin, and Gustafson. Brodin, Kaprizov, Gustafson have been skating. We're hoping to see one or multiple of those guys back. There's kind of a rumor there might be one tonight. So, but that being said, they're going to have to dig their way out of it. It's a tough spot right now that they're in, and it's not going to get any easier because Philadelphia is the surprise of the year. They are playing way over their heads. John Tortorella's got them absolutely clicking on all cylinders, and they're getting to a point where they start to believe they are that good, and that's when a team is very dangerous. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but these 3 home games coming up here, hopefully they'll be able to kind of weather the storm, figure out a way to get through the storm, I should say, not weather the storm.
What a story, Mark.
Thank you. I only made up 90% of it.
No. Alan, we talked about it before you came in here, but the Trailblazers got smoked last night, 139-77 to the Thunder, and I know you were tweeting about it.
Yeah.
How Scoot Henderson was like a minus 59.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to hurt the overall plus minus for the season. They're in an awful stretch. They're on a 13-day, 7-game road trip. It ends tonight at Target Center, second of a back-to-back. They've lost 5 of 6 on the road trip. Somehow they won a game in this trip in Brooklyn in overtime, but They've lost their margins in those 5 losses, like 28, 38, 39, 39,
Only if she's
and 62.
5'3".
There you go.
It's too easy, Marnie. Started with 28. That was the first thing I thought of. Should they be contracted now that Damian Lillard's gone?
Should the Blazers be contracted?
Should we just get rid of him and move on?
And Pete Maravich.
And Pete Maravich and the history he has there with the Blazers. What do you want to do? You want to get to 29? We're expanding. We're going to get to 32 in a few years.
Then move the Blazers to Vegas.
No, they still have great. They're awful right now, and they have not transitioned well from the Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum backcourt. They're both gone now, and they have some pieces, but they're all. I mean, DeAndre Ayton is hurt. Robert Williams is hurt. And even if those guys were healthy, I don't know that they make a huge difference when you look at the rest of the Western Conference. But no, that Portland is a great NBA city. It's got a great NBA history. They have an NBA title. It's the only game in town, and that arena rocks when they have a decent product, and they've had in years past. They just haven't the last couple of years.
Yeah, that arena is one of the best for atmosphere and just consistent crowd showing up in the league.
How's Orlando?
It was pretty good. That was a good game, fun game. We had 2 tornado warnings leading up to the game. Everybody's iPhones were going off with that screech.
It echoed throughout the entire arena, like 2 hours before the game. Everybody just starts looking at their phone, like tornado warning. Okay, are we safe in this building? It's a huge building, really nice, but it lacks any character. It lacks any atmosphere, really, even with them playing pretty well this year.
Even with Marney.
Yeah.
I know.
I tried to bring some character and atmosphere.
I thought you did great.
Well, thank you. I
booed the TV.
Throw things?
I could hear that.
Did you go out to dinner with the Petersons?
I did, yes.
Where'd you go?
Tika found a pizza spot, pizza and pasta, like a homemade wood fire kind of situation. We got there, and Mike Conley was in there with a friend having dinner. So we were like, well, this place must be good. And then 2 security guys came in while we were there. So it was kind of a hot spot. You know where when you leave the hotel, we saw you when we were coming back. It's that only stretch where all the restaurants and bars are. Yeah. So Tika Pete had scouted it out as I predicted she would. And yeah, we had a nice little dinner.
The New England Patriots have a new head coach.
They do?
Yep.
Already?
Is it Vrabel?
Yeah, no, it's Jared Mayo, Gerard Mayo, who I think played for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Gerard
is hired.
Mayo was super good.
He's now the youngest head coach in the NFL.
How old is he?
He's 37.
Was he on the staff?
Yeah. And there was a story, I think, from The Athletic earlier that it was basically in writing that he would take over when Belichick left. So Gerard Mayo is the new head coach of the New England Patriots.
Wow. All right.
That was quick.
Yep. There'll be a press conference next week.
When was the Belichick press conference? Wasn't that yesterday?
Yeah, at 11,
So they didn't waste much time.
No.
By the way, we were having technical difficulties on your mic over there. So
Mine?
Mine?
I think it actually might have been Marnie's. But anyway, so yeah.
You just repeat everything you just said?
Yeah, please. Start all over again.
Take it from the top.
Talk about the pizza.
Just repeat everything that John Krasinski says.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Rosie
And when in doubt.
The NFL playoffs begin tomorrow with Super Wild Card Weekend. Texans host the Browns on tomorrow at 3:30. The Browns are -2 and the over-under is 44.5. That game is on the Fan. The Dolphins and Chiefs follow at 7. You can only watch that game on Peacock. The Chiefs are -4.5. The over-under is 43.5. The game time wind chills are going to be in the -30s.
That's a disaster.
How's that?
Yeah, that's hideous.
That's stupid.
And then we have a triple header on Sunday. Bills hosting the Steelers. The Bills are -10. The over-under is 35.5. TJ Watt will be out for the Steelers. Packers are in Dallas to battle the Cowboys at 3:30. Dallas is a 7-point favorite. The Lions host the Rams at 7 that night. The Lions are -3. The over-under is 51.5. All those games can be heard on the Fan. And then Philly is in Tampa. Philly is a 3-point favorite. Great tune.
A lot of battling.
Give
me 3 synonyms for battle.
Fight, war, beating up. Fight, war, destruction.
Sounds like a ransom note.
contest.
More with Alan Horton, Marney, Gellner, Mark Parrish, and the rest of the Power Trip Morning Show after this on The Fan.
So she told me to come over and I took that trip. And then she
7:43 Power Trip Morning Show. Marney, you can graduate.
I can graduate?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was you. That wasn't you? Oh, I guess it wasn't you. Radio bit, Marnes. I'm doing bits over here.
Yeah, I don't know this
That's okay.
song,
No,
so
no,
I had to
cool.
listen to the lyrics.
Yeah, you're not cool.
Okay, well, I did graduate.
Okay, good. Congratulations. We're bragging.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was, Parrish and I were in deep conversation with Alan Horton over here about his job. And I got to tell you, man, it's just, I'm super impressed.
I'm blown away.
I really am.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Voice of the T-Wolves, of course, for a long time. How long now? How many years?
17th season.
Man, 17 years.
Yeah, I can't believe it's that.
So then 14 of those you've been by yourself? 13, 14?
15.
15 you've been by. Dude,
Billy McKinney was my partner my first year in 2007, 07, 08, and then Kevin Lynch. And then that kind of position just sort of went away.
I have, let's see, PA, Pete, Ben, Jared, me. I mean, he's at 5'6". He travels by himself. He doesn't even have engineers. There's an engineer in the other city waiting on him to get there to set up the equipment. He just does it all by himself.
Yeah, it's a little different than other, like, obviously you guys travel with the Vikings and everything, and you want your own setup. And I used to do that with the Chargers, in fact, San Diego Chargers, when they were in San Diego for about 10 years.
Wow.
And, boy, the NFL is just a monster. It's so weird talking to you behind my back. Sorry, I feel like I'm rude to you guys back there. But it's the beauty of radio. But in NBA, and I don't know how it works in the NHL, actually, if they travel an engineer. You just hire the engineer in the arena. They know... in that market, they know how to set things up. They've got things set up, and everybody kind of uses them. And so it's just me traveling with the team.
But it's not just that, obviously. Doing NBA play-by-play by yourself, it's not like baseball where you can kind of just tell a story and let the air just float. You got to fill it. But it's so hard to do what you do. Again, and let's just state the obvious. You've done it through some terrible years. How do you find a way to make 2.5 hours of that fun?
Well, you guys will relate to this. It's like having a show. You know, you are on the air for 2.5, 3 hours every night, and you guys come in every morning. You have a show, and you better fill it, or else changes will be we
had some terrible years as well. Terrible.
It's the one thing you learn early on is that you can't control what happens on the floor. I just can't impact it as much as I care, as much as I have passion for it. And so I always rely on the fact that no matter what's happening on the floor, even if it's going poorly, there's still play-by-play to describe. There's still bringing that listener into the arena that night and telling them about what's happening on the floor, what's happening with the two teams. Even in a 15-win season or a 17-win season, which was the Kurt Rambis era, 32 and 132. Hashtag never forget.
Oh, my. It was that bad. I know it was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
I had no idea it was statistically that bad.
And there was never this thought in the first 2 years. Like, he was on a 4-year contract, and it just never got the feeling that there was any sort of, he felt any pressure. Like, he's like, oh, this is all part of the plan. I'm like, I don't think so. When you go 32 and 132, I think you get fired is what happens. And that surely happened. But so no matter what's going on the floor, there's always things to talk about. I mean, you can talk about Kevin Love or Big Al Jefferson and how they're playing and what the Timberwolves are working on and what's the opponent doing. You take a broader look at the league and what's happening. So there's always storylines. And then the league about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 10 now, put in that little clock that if you go to Target Center or any NBA arena, you'll see how long the timeout is. And they now time those breaks perfectly to the TV commercials. And so when that hits 000, you're back on the air. It almost times out perfectly. And now there's not this lag of a minute, sometimes a minute 30 before a break, after a break, which really kind of extended things. So if you get a light free throw game, it's pretty end-to-end action. And then you're going to commercials, you bring in your reads, and there's really not a lot of downtime.
We just got those clocks in some stadiums in the NFL this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that does help a lot. There's no doubt about it.
They still have the guy on the sidelines with the orange gloves?
They sure do.
Yes.
Yep. You got to have
You got to pick that guy out right away.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Alan, how many radio guys in the league don't have an analyst?
I think for the whole season, some teams have an analyst at home and not on the road. I think there's probably 6 or 7 that do the whole season by themselves.
How jarring was it for you to start doing it by yourself after having a partner?
I had done a number of different sports. I did a lot of college baseball in San Diego, and those games, college baseball with metal bats in the Mountain West Conference. You're going to Air Force, you're going to places in Colorado where the elevation's a factor. You've seen some Rockies games. Those aren't... there's a reason why they don't win, because those games, the elevation, the ball doesn't break as much. And, you do some 16-14 games. There was a 23-21 game in New Mexico once. And I did those all by myself. It was a great experience of just being on the air for those games were sometimes pushing 4 hours. And so it was, as painful as that was to go through, it was a great learning experience and probably prepared me for what I'm going through now.
Who deserves this season of Timberwolves basketball more, you or Jeff Muniche?
Mune has seen it all. When you think you've been around a long time, no, you just look over at Jeff and he's been here.
89, right?
He's an original employee.
What does he do?
Jeff's in charge of what community?
Target Center and fan experience.
Okay,
everybody's got strange kind of titles, at that level. But he's one of the original. He is one of the original employees, and one
of the nicest guys I've ever met.
That's not what you said during the break, Marney.
On a given night in the arena, I would bet that Jeff probably knows at least half the crowd. I think he knows them by name. It's unbelievable.
It does seem like it.
Yeah.
So you're saying slightly he deserves it more than you?
There's no question. I'm down on the list.
But how much better is it, though, to get up and go to work when you know this team is a factor this year for the first time, basically, in your 17 years?
Yeah, and the 2 Boston games are great examples, right? This is a premier opponent, and those games, from the opening tip to both games ending in overtime, were just, high-level playoff-type basketball right from the start. The home game at Target Center in November against Boston was awesome. I was absolutely exhausted after the game. Could barely talk at that point, because when you start a game that high, trying to match the energy and the talent on the floor, it takes its toll after a couple hours. But, when you have those type of games, that's what you want. You want teams that you want to be relevant. The worst is being irrelevant and just an afterthought in the league. And there have been too many seasons like that. And now the Wolves are relevant. And it's fantastic because games matter and opponents matter and these great matchups. And you're looking at the standings. You're looking at how the Wolves have been atop the West for 54 straight days. And the defensive rating is number 1 and has been for most of the season. It's great. And the intensity of those games, like in Boston the other night, is just... It's awesome. I think it's why we get into sports. That's, one of my first experiences in sports was going to a Celtics game. I grew up in Western Massachusetts, going to a Celtics-Sixers game with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish against, I want to say Julius Erving was still on that team, Charles Barkley. It was a Christmas...
Yeah, Pistol
Pete was there. So he was everywhere.
Zion was there,
And Larry Bird at the end of the third quarter, Sixers had been dominating. Celtics put together a run at the end of the third, and Bird hits a half-court shot at the end of the third. And the place was so loud, the old Boston Garden. I remember screaming and not being able to hear myself scream. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Yeah. It must have been in my brain that I want to get back into this kind of realm somehow. And I knew I wasn't going to be playing any sport. So,
was the Boston Garden where the hockey team played as well?
Yep. They both, the old Garden and the new Garden, the Bruins both played there with the Celtics.
There, Parrish?
Yeah.
How was that place?
The old one I played, this was World Juniors back in 95, I think. Because
you were on that team? Did you ever make a championship?
I played.
Did you ever win?
No, I did not. We were on that team. Silver medal. But it was crazy. Like the first time playing on the old Boston Garden, thinking about it, like Bobby Orr skating on that ice and everything like that is just an absolute thrill. I remember giving me chills. But then, whenever you get a chance to play in those big towns, big buildings, the old school, the original six, the deep fan base, there's another type of intensity. But yeah, Alan, I got to say, I'm blown away that you can do it all by yourself, especially talking about the tough years. Because working at a hockey game, doing color, when you're putting lipstick on a pig, there is just absolutely, it's the hardest thing to do. And I'm not the one that has to talk, but you still lean on a conversation. You don't have anybody else to lean on at all.
I appreciate that, Marcus. Nicely said. I find that I've probably developed a little bit of a split personality because I end up talking to myself and I'll kind of bounce things off myself. And my wife kind of looks at me sometimes like, what world are you in right now and who are you talking to? And So it's probably not been healthy from that perspective, but you just find a way. And you can always rely on the fact that even if the play is poor on the field, on the court, you're watching, I think, the greatest game with the greatest athletes in the world. And there's always stuff you never know what you're going to see. I mean, on a nightly basis, there's just sometimes it's a call, sometimes it's a play, sometimes it's an individual performance, a hot quarter. One of my first years, Carmelo Anthony scored 30, I think it was somewhere in the low 30s in a quarter against the Wolves. I'm like, what is going on here? This is unbelievable. And it was one of the biggest quarters in NBA history. And sometimes it happens for you or against you. You can, even on a bad season, you can have a game-winning shot at the buzzer like Kevin Love against the LA Clippers a number of years ago. So you try to embrace all the great attributes of the sport.
How far down the ladder are you willing to go? Like, if members of the Power Trip Morning Show go to Target Center, can we be on the broadcast?
Oh, I would vote yes.
A lot of stammering before that. Yes,
Why did you look right at me? Did hesitate a little bit.
I thought that was smoother. That it came out smoother in my head.
Can I rephrase the question? What if the Power Trip Morning Show members have agreed to be at Target Center, and we promise you we listen to John Krasinski on with Barrero before we get to the game?
That's part of the. I thought that was a requirement before the last question.
Then we'll be well educated and ready to go. God, we just love, even when he's not here. It's just the best.
He's here.
Well,
he's always here.
I think Larry Mondello guy sent an email to Common that had like both of what they said, and it was almost word for word.
He had the transcript.
He's got some time on his hands.
Yeah, he does. That's some dedication right there.
Yep.
I heard there was talk of playing an Alan Horton radio call, Timberwolves at Orlando, and a Bally Sports North television call.
Might have been my idea.
Wolves at Orlando.
A little competition on highlights.
Yeah, I don't really want any part of that.
Let's see who did it better.
Do we block out about 2 hours to play both broadcasts side by side?
I do have some audio that I was sent.
Keep in mind, I hadn't called a game since September.
Well, I didn't hear Alan's call the other day, but I did hear yours, and yours was fantastic.
Thanks. It was fine, and I'm fine saying that. It was passable, solid. I'll to just step in and keep a seat warm. Essentially,
I was sent this by my boss. This is Alan Horton doing the Timberwolves radio broadcast.
Oh, please be Ed
It's
Malloy.
the officials who continue to let him get away with it. It's just not good for the game either. It's in the league's best interest to knock it off too, but there's a different set of rules for Draymond Green.
You're not tough.
See, he's still talking. You're not tough? I'll show you tough, Draymond. No. Curry around his back, top of the key.
By the way, you just answered yourself.
See, that's what I'm talking about, right? Just talking to myself.
Not even just talking to yourself. I think you did go into character there, right?
Yeah.
Like you were.
It's also easy to make
Draymond Green.
It's easy to make those cheap shots when you're about 800 feet away or 800 yards away in the upper deck. So we're not courtside in most places, and so these guys, I can get away with that. But it's great to pick up that sound, right? Like, those microphones are.
That was perfect timing. It was like hockey dropping in something on the button bar.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Do you have any more of those, Hawk, from Alan?
I have one, but I'm afraid to play it now because obviously that one wasn't edited.
Yep.
Way to go, Chad.
Well, does this one involve Ed Malloy?
I don't know
who
that is.
I mean, that's the most famous, infamous Alan Horton call. It was Jim Pete's ringtone. Actually, it might still be Jim Pete's ringtone for Alan.
Really?
When Alan went after
he put it on his phone.
A referee named Ed Malloy.
Yep. So that was 2013, 2014, somewhere in there.
Genius.
Are we setting up the sound?
I don't know. I don't think he has it.
I have it. I do not have it.
Or he's afraid to play it.
I only have I'll show you tough. That's the only one I have.
Yeah, so that must have been from this year. That must have been the game before Draymond put Rudy in a headlock and got himself suspended for,
right?
Is that 5 games, 10 games? Before the big suspension.
Yeah. Who knows?
It's Draymond. Don't get me going on him. I mean, it's honestly, I don't know why the referees let him talk to them the way he does. He's the only player in the league who can get away with it.
That doesn't seem fair.
No, it's not fair. But he got what was coming to him.
Alan, in about 20 minutes, you make your initials game debut. Do you believe you will perform well?
Listen, I heard last week what Marney said, and I want you to know that she started playing today's game last week, okay? She's trying to get in my head. Yeah. She is trying to anger the initials gods. Listen, I've listened to the Initials game long enough to know that you better come in with a healthy respect for the game, or the game will disrespect you. And I don't need to be humiliated on the Fan or the Fan Radio Network.
So you're trying to lower expectations after she raised
listen,
them. But do you normally do okay in your car? How do you normally do when you're listening?
It's
solid.
What's amazing about any kind of game that you play, you've got to get your mindset in the right frame of mind. And sometimes there are some I can pick out some. Other times I completely struggle and come up empty. So
like these
my
guys.
goal is to use my name as my buzzer correctly at least once, and then to spit out some words for an answer. Hopefully I'm right.
Love it.
And then if I get an answer right, well, then that's a win, and I'm going to try again to get another answer right.
There
So
we
that's
go.
my
Well
philosophy.
played. Well played. Strategy.
Driving in his car is incredible but when he's playing by himself at home and it's 4 people, he's the moderator.
He pretends he's playing with
answering, he's arguing with himself about what was right.
But Marney told me this would be an all. The only reason I'm in here is because it's an all NBA answers. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's why Parrish.
Well, I thought my chances were pretty good, so she sold me on that. Is that not true?
By the way, this is not an exaggeration. You know how many? Since Parrish has been a regular player on Initials, I can't tell you how many lists I've had, and then it'll be somebody like Amari Stoudemire or like an all-star level player.
Sure.
I'm like, I can't put them on the list. Mark's never heard of them. Right? So I have to switch the list because it's just not fair to those two because they have no chance of getting it.
Didn't he get? Well, he knows Doc River, but didn't he get Doc Rivers once? I think he did.
I think I did that. I want to say Charles Oakley.
I think you got that.
Too.
Yeah,
Charles Oakley.
Once in a while they surprise us, but I've.
But do you have to do the same thing with the NHL? I mean, he knows the NHL better than most
And
people.
he one time didn't get the team he played for.
Oh no!
And he missed Mark Messier once.
Messier.
Yeah.
He's called himself by different names too. So
He's
I think
and one.
Yeah, I think you got Alex Ovechkin and Adam Oates on AO on me sauce. So, I would say it's
Great
a
former
pretty
Bruin.
similar percentage. Yeah.
All right, we'll do a Fan 5 when we come back, and then Initials about 15 minutes
Get
from now.
those
Don't forget.
guesses in.
That's true. Hit the hashtag up and hit social media
Hashtag
up.
Power Trip at KFAN 1003.
And then one of you also gets to call in about 15 minutes and get a shot at $56,500. Power Trip's back after this on the Fan.